Grace and peace, St. Lucans. I was asked once in a congregation where I was a guest preacher if I thought it was a good idea to bring politics into the pulpit. And I said I did not think it was a good idea to bring politics, narrow partisan politics, into the pulpit or to use it as a grandstand for any particular issue. But I did say, whenever I preach or teach, whenever we gather for Bible study, we have to go where the texts take us. The Old Testament lesson this coming Sunday takes us to the immigrants, asylum seekers, and migrants among us. Thus says the Lord, maintain justice and do what is right. Isaiah 56. For soon my salvation will come and my deliverance be revealed. And the foreigners who join themselves to the Lord and hold fast to my covenant, these I will bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Thus says the Lord God, who gathers the outcasts of Israel. I will gather others to them, besides those already gathered. In my recent second edition on immigration that I wrote with Raleigh Deffenbaugh, They Are Us, Lutherans and Immigration, there's a chapter in which I compare the dreams that our grandparents had, our ancestors who were all immigrants unless we came via the Middle Passage of slavery or were here already as natives, that these dreams are the same dreams that people have today. And can these dreams of our grandparents and our new neighbors today be bridges? And I shared a few of those dreams. One of them was finding new roots. In 1994, Wilmot Collins and his wife Maddie fled from the First Liberian Civil War, which took more than 275,000 lives. He remembers they were both starving. They eventually put down new roots as refugees in Helena, Montana. After a time in which people sent messages like, go back to Africa, and when that message and KKK were painted on his garage door, his neighbors came out and erased the hateful graffiti. They soon became his neighbors. He had new roots. I met him when he was a fellow director of Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Services. He was elected mayor of Helena, Montana, the first black mayor in the state. He then ran for U.S. Senator. The dream of finding new roots. The dream of bringing an ordeal of passage to an end. That's the story with so many who are migrating from South and Central America, crossing two borders, often fleeing for their lives. San Lucas Lutheran Church in Eagle Pass, Texas, is right on the border, and they serve as the first welcome station after migrants are released from ICE detention. And I was there when a large group of Central American asylum seekers entered the church. They were given a warm welcome. A mariachi band played in their honor. They were tired, had endured a lot, but they were visibly relieved and moved to be safe and welcomed. We were the first, Lutherans were the first, to say welcome, bienvenidos, after their long ordeal of passage through Mexico. The dream of bringing an ordeal of passage to an end. The dream of being strangers no longer. I watched the 10 years that I was in Queens, our church basement, become a place where Koreans, Latinos from Central South America and Mexico, Chinese and others became one church. sang in the choir together, and shared from their cultures in an incredibly vibrant congregation. The dream of being strangers no longer. The dream many of our ancestors had of ending bad, tough situations. My grandparents' family could not afford the dike taxes on the North Sea in Germany, and they were poor. Ending bad situations. At a shelter in Laredo, Mexico, a person told me, 2 sisters, one with a little boy, their story. Their 22-year-old brother, who operated a food truck to sustain the family in Honduras, was the victim of extortion by a local gang. When they could not pay as much as they demanded, they shot him in the face. The sisters showed us the pictures of his bullet-ridden body in the casket. The gang said the sisters would be killed next after they killed the boy. They told this story with intense emotion. They were running for their lives. The dream of ending past situations. And the dream of welcome and experiencing hospitality. Our Swahili congregation, our East African mission in New York, began with the hospitality of a local congregation in Queens who welcomed a Tanzanian woman into their congregation, much as we have welcomed Sylvia. And Perusi Butiku, a Diakonia graduate, Tanzanian, held a Bible study for East African women in her apartment. That flowered into a new congregation. And that congregation, reaching out in Swahili and Lingala, became the place that memorialized the East Africans who were killed in the trade towers on 9/11. The dream of receiving a welcome and experiencing hospitality. The dream of bodily safety. The story I told Sunday about a 3-year-old on a bus who died between Texas and Chicago. Died in an emergency room in a hospital in downstate Illinois. How about the dream of connected lives, building connected lives? Gustavus Adolphus Lutheran Church in Manhattan thrived when the pastor and church leaders met Swedish immigrants at the dock, where they disembarked from the ships that brought them to these shores. These travelers arrived alone, and many of them, these Swedish immigrants, lived lives cleaning other people's houses, watching other people's babies, doing many menial tasks. And when they died, they left to their only living relative a fortune, the endowment at Gustavus Adolphus in New York by those immigrants who were able to build connected lives. And the dream of finding a path through a maze. You and I know what it's like to try and go to the DMV and get a driver's license. Now imagine all of the daily red tape that has to be cut by people coming to a strange place with different customs and different expectations. Working with an immigration lawyer and with Sylvia, we're learning some of what it means to find a path through a maze. And finally, being treated with dignity. Even if our politics say they shouldn't be here, even if we as red and blue state people have principled disagreements about our policy, the Bible is clear about every human being who has the image of God. The Bible is clear about who is our neighbor. Being treated with dignity is to see Christ in every human being, just as others see Christ in us.